Okay, so we're back at the farmhouse and we just got out of church, so we're gonna film the Q&A and get to know us type video. In the last two videos that I posted, I asked you guys to leave questions down below in the comments, and you guys did, so I guess we'll just jump right into the questions. The first question is what are your names and how old are you guys? My name's Sarah and I'm 23.
My name's Ben and I'm 26.
How long have we been married? We've been married for right at 4.5 years. We got married on 3/18/17. I have to say it like that and not the month because I can't think of it. What do you guys do for a living? I do not work. I'm just like a homemaker. I take care of the house and I try and do Instagram and the blog and stuff like that as a job, but it makes a little bit of money, but not much. And honestly, I've let the blog go a lot. So I'm working on that right now, trying to get it back up to date and just refresh the content on there because it is very out of date and I haven't kept up with it. And I do not make money from YouTube, but someday I hope to. I would love to make this my job, but it's not right now.
And I'm a saw filer for a local sawmill in our area. I've been with them for about 8 years now. I work on their large bands. We do all the hammering, the tensioning, the welding that goes with them. They're about 50 foot long and about 12 inches wide.
The next question is what region of Kentucky are you from? We're from the northeastern part of Kentucky.
It's probably we're about a little bit over an hour northeast of Lexington.
Is this your first home? This is not our first home. Our first home was a 1,700 square foot, like story and a half house. It was 3 bedroom, 2 bath, and it was just on an acre of land in a subdivision, and we were not happy there. We never liked the house from the day that we bought it. Like I'd say about a week into living there, we realized how little we liked the house. We actually hated it. And so from that point on, we were constantly looking for houses to buy and farms, not really houses, but farms. And that house like gave us the ability to learn because we did do a lot of like DIYs and remodeling in that house, but small things like just drywall work. And we redid both the bathrooms and the backsplash in the kitchen. So it taught us a lot, but it was not our forever home, and hopefully this will be our forever home.
We're definitely not moving again. I've already decided since all the work that goes into it, we won't be doing it again. But our first home was good for us. That's where we cut our teeth. We learned how to do a lot of work. The house was a 99, so it was out of date, and we did have to do a lot of updating and remodeling because we knew that eventually we wanted to sell. So it was good for us. We got to learn a lot, learn how to do some carpentry skills, some finishing skills, and things that we can apply to the home that we have now.
And I forgot to mention, if you guys hear a hissing noise in the background, it's we're running a heater because it's so cold in here. But the next question is has it always been your dream to own an old farmhouse? And it has been my dream even whenever I didn't know it. Whenever I was a little girl, there's a certain house next to my parents' house in the town that I grew up. And I've always said that I wanted to live in that house, and I told my parents from the day that I could remember that I was going to live in that house someday. And we drive past it all the time now, and of course we don't live there, but it's like a family home and it is an old farmhouse. So I guess it's always been my style, and as long as like from as far back as like whenever I got married at 18 and we started looking at houses, I did want a farmhouse.
The farmhouse was never really nothing that was in my dreams or my goals. I always was interested in the farm. She does more on the inside that interests hers with the remodeling and trying to make things original. And I'm more into the running equipment, running the livestock, rotating them on pastures, and just the work that's outside. I grew up, we had beef cattle, and we done hay and done tobacco early on. So the crops and just the farming outside was more of my interest that I always wanted to do.
And I guess you could say that that's kind of why it took us so long to find a farm and a house, is because by the time you take the land into aspect and what it looks like and how it lays, that was important to him, and it was kind of important for me to have like a good yard for our kids, like if we have kids someday. And then the house was a big aspect for me. The next question is what made you want such a fixer-upper? And it's not necessarily that we wanted a fixer-upper, but for our price point, it was all that we could afford, because the old house that we're actually taking down now, it was an 1876 house, I think. The other day we were in there and we actually almost bought that farm at one time. But whenever we went back to look at the house, we were so shocked that that was even a consideration for us to buy that house at one point, because one, it did not have any bathrooms, any plumbing. They had a well that people used the bathroom in, and they just had like propane tanks on the side of the house and they had water in them. It was so tiny. And that's another thing with old houses, is the foundation was a huge issue, because most of them around here anyways were built directly on the ground with like little to no foundation at all. So most of them have either sunk, and then a lot of the places that we looked at had such bad water damage where nobody took care of the roof over the years, and it was just completely demolished, honestly.
A lot of people ask us the same question, especially the local people around our family and everything, why we would buy it in the shape that it's in. Outside of our finances being the big decisioning factor in that, the home has awesome structure. It has a great foundation underneath of it. It actually is one of the only old farmhomes that we come across that had a crawl space that didn't sit directly on the ground. The home already had ductwork in it. And so it was something that we could afford, and I often just tell people that we've got more time than we have money. So all we have to do is get it livable, a few necessities that we have to have, and then we can just work on the rest of it as we go. And once we get moved in, time won't really be an issue. We're just pressing now to get moved in, and afterwards we can work on it as we live here.
And that's a big thing with both of us, is we do not do well with idle time at all. Like, he loves to be outside and doing stuff, and I like to be on the inside doing stuff. Like, I do enjoy the animals and the cows and stuff like that, don't get me wrong, I love them, but that, like, I love going and seeing them and petting them, but I do love working on the inside of a home. Like, I love interior design, and it's just something that I've always had a passion for, so that part I do like.
The inside's just not for me. I like to have the acres to be able to get out, whether it's on the four-wheeler or driving the tractor, fixing fence, whatever it is. I like to be able to get out and do stuff productive that's on the outside.
Okay, the next question is do you have home reno experience, or are you learning as you go? We do have some experience. Like I said, with the old house, we did renovate the bathrooms and the kitchen a little bit. But other than that, we don't have any experience. We just learn as we go. It's
very educational for us as we go to learn all the things. We're very blessed that her dad knows so much skills and trades to be able to help us, and my dad as well. My dad works for a local nonprofit organization that does construction and builds homes for people that can't afford them. And so he's got all the experience, whether it's plumbing, framing, septic systems, running equipment, all the things that we don't know. We're very blessed to be able to have him to go to and to be able to have him help us. So they help out on everything that we're not sure of.
And right now we're in the learning process, so like everything that we come across, we try and ask our parents, like, teach me instead of just doing it for me, because we want to learn and not always have to rely on them. We don't want to have to call them whenever something goes wrong with the plumbing. So that's why we are very eager to learn, and we want to do the best that we can.
We see that a lot of people aren't, but we're trying to be very independent, and we also want to be self-sufficient and not have to depend upon anybody. So it does bother us so much to have to always call and ask them. And so that's why we try our best to just learn from whatever it is they're teaching us, so that we don't have to call them. And even though they don't care to, we don't want to be a burden to them. We don't want to aggravate them and interrupt their evenings and weekends to come over here. So we just try to learn the best we can to be able to be independent and do everything that we can ourselves.
The next question is, what's the plan for the house when it's finished? And the plan for this house whenever it's finished is it's going to be our forever home. It has the space to raise kids if we decide to have kids, and it's just a great property. We would eventually love to buy property around us, but none is for sale right now, and honestly we don't have the money. But it's like someday, if it does come available, we would love to expand the farm and buy more, because like he said, our goal is to become self-sufficient, and we want the natural way of living and the simple lifestyle. That's what we both enjoy. We want to live as simple as possible. I love canning, and we love processing our own food. We just want to be able to self-sustain and not have to depend on the grocery stores per se. And we just love the health benefits of making your own food, growing your own food, knowing where it's coming from. And we, like right now, for the past like 6 months, we've been eating a lot of fast food and just living off my parents' cooking, because we stay here so late working at the house, and then we just drive up there, which is an hour and a half away. So if we leave here at like 8:30, we don't get there until like 10 o'clock, and it's really rough, like trying to drive. And so we're ready to get in this house so that we can go back to our way of living.
With gas prices going up and us driving so far, we try to get as much done as we can of the evenings, but that's the main reason it's taken us so long to get moved in, because you have setbacks that you didn't account for. But we lose at least 3 hours a day just in driving.
Are you planning to share cost/money? And I don't really know what this question is referring to, so I guess we'll just kind of like answer it in like broad, I guess. But the farm and the house, which is 34.5 acres, and then the house, of course, with the 5 barns that are on the property, it was $165,000. And our down payment was $37,000, and that includes closing costs, which was $5,000. And that's another thing that set us back so much on the house renovations, is because whenever the appraiser came to appraise the property and the house, he said that because we were trying to get a loan taken out for the house, and it was going to be house and farm loan. So he came and wouldn't even set foot in the house. Took pictures of it from the outside where the mudroom was falling down. And we tried to explain it to him that we were going to fix up the house and stuff. But he went ahead and told the bank that the house needed to be tore down and it had no value. So it ruined our chance of trying to get that loan. So we had to go through and get just a straight farm loan. So we ended up having to pay 20% down instead of the 15% that we were planning. So it ended up costing us another $12,000 as a down payment. So that took away from our renovations that we were planning on having. And as far as any other like cost/money that you guys want to know, if you want to know, just ask. Like, we're pretty open about it. Like, we're not trying to hide anything or anything. So just let us know in the comments.
A lot of people don't agree sharing prices and costing like that. And we discussed it, and for us, it's public records. Whenever we bought the farm, that's in the newspaper. When you get married, it's in the newspaper. When you die, it's in the newspaper. And it's just public information that goes around, so we don't care to share it. Everybody knows anyways.
Yeah, and you can look it up on Google. Like, you can look up anybody's house and see what they paid for it, how much it sold for, like whatever. It's all public knowledge. So if you wanted to find out, you could look it up. Have you had any issues with more critters coming in the house? And we have. Like, the critters are everywhere. We have mice, we have spiders, we have tons of that. We have birds, like 3 birds that we cannot keep out here. They drive me nuts, and honestly, they will fly and attack you.
We can't get anything done. It seems like every time we get in a project, we've got to go kill a spider for somebody or run some birds out of here because we don't have everything sealed up just yet. And as winter approaches and we've got propane heaters running in here, it does stay warmer, so they seem to try to find their way inside the best they can. But
we do try and spray for spiders and any kind of insects at least once a week, and it does work. But I don't know, it's just like they still find a way in. But as far as the coon and stuff like that, we think that we've taken care of that. It's mostly just birds and mice now that we're having problems with. The next question is do you have any ideas for colors you want to use in the house yet?
She'll definitely be using all white everywhere that is possible.
I love white. White is just me, and I am a very clean person. Like, a lot of people say I have OCD, but I don't know. Like, I don't believe that. But I just love clean stuff. And it's just my personality. Like, I just love a clean space. If I have a clean space and a clean home, then I feel clean, and like my mind is clean and clear, and I can just get a lot done. I just love white and bright spaces, and I don't know, it's my personality. So you'll see a lot of neutral colors, taupey colors, probably my shirt and my cardigan, like stuff like that. Very neutral tones and just like calm colors. But I don't have exact colors picked or anything like that. And as far as like wood floors go, I do plan on, we're gonna sand them down, and I would love to keep them as not orange as possible, because our old house was all orange wood. It was oak, so everything was orange, the cabinets, floors, everything, and I hated it. So I'm trying to stay as far away from that as I can. And honestly, I love like a light, like natural wood, honestly. But it seems like whenever you seal wood, then it turns orange, and I'm not a fan of that. So I'll try and avoid that in this house. And especially because this is gonna be my forever home, that is why I'm not cutting corners on like peeling paint. I know I get a lot of questions on that. Why are you peeling the paint? It is so thick that it's cakey, and it would look awful if I paint it. And if I go back over and say that I have to do 3 coats in 20 years whenever we're here or whatever, it's gonna look awful. So I'd rather just go ahead and take it down to the wood now and save time in the long run.
We was actually just talking about this yesterday. She was peeling some paint off of some doors, and it already had, the best we could tell, a minimum of 3 layers of paint on it, possibly 4. But if we was to just paint over it, it would look so textured and it's just so rough that it just wouldn't look good. So we decided it's best just for everything that we can to take it back down to the wood, take it back down to originally how it was. And so it just has 1 layer on it and looks a whole lot better.
Okay, and the last question we have is, do you plan to flip houses? No, we do not. Like, I am not about this. Like, I love doing it for my home, But that's like before this, like with the blog, that's kind of why I quit blogging, is because the blog name was previously KY Farmhouse. I got on Instagram one day and tons of people were using that same username. And so I actually changed my username to Lewis Acres Homestead because we came up with that name, which Lewis is our last name if you didn't know. And so that's where it comes from. While we were living in the subdivision, I just didn't have any content to share. Like all I was doing was like home decor and a little bit of canning and maybe some pictures of the cows or stuff like that. But we just didn't have anything content to share. So then I have always had a passion for home decor. So I actually had a couple clients and I was decorating houses for them and stuff, and I was getting paid for it. But so I changed my Instagram name to Sarah LaRae Lewis, but very quickly I realized that was not me. So that's whenever I changed back to this name, and it's like now I have the content to share with you guys, but I definitely do not plan on doing this forever. Like after the house is done being renovated, which that will take years, I plan on doing like home decor, and I would love to share like recipes and just our lifestyle. But we've answered all the questions that I got on the last 2 videos. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video of getting to know us a little bit better. But I hope you guys will like and subscribe.